I've seen how music can make a room full of strangers feel the same emotion at the same time. Music can bring back memories you've forgotten even existed. And music can, it can completely alter your state of consciousness without any substances. I think that music can make you feel connected to something greater than yourself. And I believe it is one of the most powerful forces that humans have access to because, it speaks directly to the underlying patterns that make up reality. And now, before I explain why music is so powerful, I need to explain to you guys what I mean by that and what our universe is constructed off of. And that is sacred geometry. Actually, have a tattoo right here. But everything in our universe is made up of geometry. Our thoughts are geometric, and everything created is, and so are we. One of the most common experiences you'll hear someone who have indulged in a psychedelic is that they've seen geometric patterns. Now let's go back to music. This goes hand in hand with music because, well, sound is geometry. Sound is, it's geometry in motion, and sacred geometry is sound at rest. And, everything existing is vibrating. Everything carries a frequency. Every thought, every emotion, even objects, everything is participating in an endless dance of vibration. And when that vibration moves, we get to experience it as sound. And one of the reasons I'm so fascinated by this topic is because I have experienced it firsthand. I actually got to experience a really cool salvia trip a while ago, and in that trip, I got to experience the universe through geometry. And just to give a quick explanation of salvia, salvia is a plant that interacts with the receptors in our brains that allow us to detach from our physical bodies and detach from our 3D reality. When I talk about the salvia trip, people always ask me, they'll ask me, like, what did you see? What did you see on this trip? But I feel like they're asking the wrong questions because, I can tell you what I saw, but, the hard part is explaining what I felt on the trip. And what I mean by this is, I can tell you, I saw these shapes, I saw this moving around, but what I really felt was that I was embodying a deeper structure behind existence. It quite literally feels like you are the universe in existence. And, after that experience, it changed a lot about how I view things, and it changed a lot about how I viewed music because, I saw how much power the music we listen to holds. You know, during that trip, reality didn't appear as solid objects, it appeared as patterns. It was layers upon layers of living patterns, and it was all moving together. It was in perfect harmony. And, when I came back from that trip, over time, I started to wonder, what if music affects us so deeply because it's speaking the same language? What if music is one of the purest expressions of the underlying patterns that shape our universe, Because music doesn't just communicate through language, it communicates through feeling, pattern, rhythm, and vibration.